Welcome back, guys. So, this episode, I want to talk about some woo woo, witchy, magical things that I do that have changed my life over the last 5 years. And these are things that I still do today. So, we're going to talk about a few of them. I do a lot of things, but I want to talk about the big ones that we can all start doing. Um, yeah, that's what this episode is going to be about. Hey, gorgeous. Welcome to Sunshine and Rosie, your new favorite cozy nook where we're going to talk everything from spiritual growth, cultivating a positive mindset, to discussing all the juiciness that this world has to offer. Basically, I want to show you how incredibly fascinating you are as a human and give you all my nuggets so that you can confidently embody your most chaotically beautiful self. So no matter what shitstorm the world is throwing at you, know that I'll always be that little sunshine in your pocket. God, that's so cheesy. Right. And I saw something the other day that said something about naming things woo woo gives them this like it takes the power off them in a sense, because when you think woo woo you're like, oh, I roll, like, oh, blah blah blah, but there's actually so much magic and science and everything behind all of these things that, and I've seen it in my life, that fucking work. They're woo woo, but they work. So first things I want to talk about is scripting. Scripting has been something that blows my mind to this day, but scripting is essentially just scripting things into your reality and scripting them as if you already have them, if you've already experienced them. And I have done this. So I've been since moving to Budapest, so around 4 or 5 years ago, when I really went out on my own, and started living on my own and really working on healing the relationship I had with myself, I started scripting. And this is where I've scripted apartments. This apartment, I've scripted apartments into my life. I've scripted people into my life. I have scripted relationships into my life. I've scripted opportunities, um, clients, moments, so many things. So many things that I've scripted, and I would write them down as if I'm living it, as if I just had that day, as if it's a day in my life and that thing has happened. And the important thing here is when you are scripting, it's not just writing about like the thing happening, but it's how you felt, how you really felt in your body when said thing happened. So let's say I'm writing about the apartment. I'm going into details of like the main things that I wanted in the apartment, and I got them, and how good it was. Because I remember when I was in Budapest, the apartment that I got, oh my God, it was a fucking dream. And the way it came to me was so fucking magical. But I remember my main things was, because I was working from home as well, and I was going to be spending a lot of time in the apartment, I needed daylight. I was like, I want to be able to see the sunrise or the sunset, and I want light in my apartment. And another thing was I wanted a good kitchen, because I love cooking and I like spending time in the kitchen. So that was my two main things. And I remember writing about them and just writing about how beautiful it was to wake up in the morning and to have light coming into my apartment, and how good it felt, and how bright my apartment felt, and how I felt living in a bright apartment, and really tapping into the sensations in my body that I felt once I had got the thing. And I remember when I went to see my apartment in Budapest, the one that I ended up getting, it was all so last minute. It was so magical. That's a whole nother story in itself. But I remember when I was shown it, it was a beautiful Hungarian couple, and they took me up to the apartment. And the first things that came out of this woman's mouth was, so you can see the sunset right out the window, and it was a wall of windows. Okay. And I was like, and then she goes, and the kitchen has just been all redone because the person who lived here before you was on some cooking show or something. So the kitchen had all been redone. And it was the two things that came out of her mouth. And instantly I was like, this is it. But I had to act like, cool. I'm looking at a few places. Anyway, I ended up getting the apartment, and it was incredible. But scripting is something I do on the regular. And every time it blows my fucking mind when I find myself in the moment and I'm like, holy shit, I wrote about this. I've wrote relationships into my life. I've put people down on paper on like the qualities that I wanted, how I wanted them to look, what I kind of wanted out of it. And then lo and behold, a couple of weeks, a couple of days even later, this person comes into my life. And I'm like, holy shit. Um, and one moment that I tell this story quite a lot because it's not even about the big things. Okay, scripting. It's not about the big career goals or the apartment or the relationship or anything like that. I remember I was here in Porto, so it was maybe 2 years ago, I'm going to say. I remember scripting just a day in my life. I was at a point in my life where I was stuck in the hustle culture, nonstop, go, go, go. I couldn't rest. Um, I wasn't allowing myself to rest. I didn't think anytime I did rest, I believed that I was wasting time, blah, blah, blah. All these inner narratives, all these old beliefs that I used to have. And I remember scripting because even on Saturdays, I'd be like, oh, I could get a couple of hours work done today, thinking I was fucking great. And I remember my mentor at the time, she was looking at my calendar and she was like, Ro, you've no days off. And even your days off, they're scheduled. There's plans. There's a routine going on, and one of her things that she gave me to do one weekend, she was like, I want you to have no plans this weekend. She was like, if you end up doing stuff like cooking or whatever, that's fine, but you're not planning anything. I don't want you to plan anything. I want you to just give yourself 2 empty days, Saturday and Sunday, empty days, and I want you to do nothing. And I remember when those days came, I remember the Saturday coming and I was like, okay, I'm not going to work. And I remember I was like, I'll just get out of the house. So I went to the house, I went to a cafe, I took my journal. And I remember feeling so anxious. Like my whole system was like, you're fucking wasting time. What are you doing? And it was just observing how chaotic my inner world was when I was literally just taking a day off. Okay. And so I just moved to a new city, starting all fresh again. And I remember scripting a day where it was a Saturday. I woke up with no alarm. I had a beautiful morning. I got outside. I was walking along. I think I wrote that I was like by the beach or something like that. I just had a beautiful morning. I got back. I got ready and I was meeting friends for brunch because I had made connections here in the city and I was finally settling in. And then I think I had something like, and then that evening, like I went on a date with a guy, blah, blah, blah. And I wrote this day in. And again, it was all to do with how I felt, that I woke up with no anxiety, that I wasn't rushing, that I didn't have this pressure on me, that the excitement of going to brunch with friends that I had met and the conversations and how good it felt to feel connected to people, and then the possibility of a date and blah, blah, blah. Okay. And I wrote this day and I closed up my journal and I put it away. And then about a month or so later, maybe 2 months later, I remember waking up on a Saturday, no alarm. I went for a run. I went for a dip in the ocean. I came back. I was getting myself ready because I was meeting a friend for brunch. And I had a date that evening. And I remember in the moment of like, just after coming back from that beautiful morning in the kitchen, I was having a coffee before I was about to go to brunch. And I was sitting in my kitchen and I just stopped and like I burst into tears. Woo! I burst into tears because I was like, holy shit. I wrote about this day. This day is already on paper. And I remember just that sensation of that feeling of like bringing it all up again and be like, oh my God, it's happening. Like I had a Saturday with no work and not feeling guilty. And I've got connections and I'm going on a date tonight. Like all these things were happening. And it was as simple as that. Like that was something I scripted, a day where I didn't feel guilty for not working, a day where I was just an ordinary day without all the internal chaos going on. And that was that's one of my favorite moments because I remember just sitting in the kitchen that day and just taking a deep breath and be like, holy fucking shit, I'm here. It's happened. And every time I find myself in a moment like that, and it's like that, I'll be in the moment, I'll be doing it, and then all of a sudden it's like I drop into my body and it like clicks and I'm like, oh, I wrote about this. And every time it blows my mind. It doesn't matter how often I do this and how often it comes through, every single fucking time it blows my mind. So scripting, like if you think about it, it's spelling, is casting a spell. So you're scripting, you're like writing your own story. You're literally writing, creating your story. And the thing is, whatever you write down, tapping into those feelings, when you actually find yourself in the moment, it's always better. It's always better. And it always hits deeper. So yeah, scripting is number one. Fucking love it. Highly recommend it. And you can do it with so many things. And it's something I do inside my community, my online community. We have scripting nights once a month where I call them dream nights, where I drop you into like a visualization of whatever the theme is or whatever we're talking about, and then I'll give you the prompt and you script it. And it's incredible because then you close your journal, you put it away, you forget about it, and then you find yourself in the moment, and it's magic. Scripting. Secondly, another thing visualization. Oh my God, visualization is fucking incredible. Again, because if you think about it, right, 95% of the shit that we do on a daily basis is coming from our subconscious beliefs. Okay. So when you can believe or get into a visualization where you're fully feeling something happening, you're feeling it so intensely in your system does not know what the difference between what's real and what's fake. Okay. That's like when you watch a movie and the dog dies and you get so emotional and you bawl cry. It's a fucking movie. The dog's not really dead and it's not your dog, but yet your whole system felt like that was real. Like that's an example for how powerful visualization is that like we're able to concoct these emotions and these sensations in our bodies as if we're fully living them when it's actually not happening around us. And your system doesn't know the difference between what's real and what's fake. So that's why visualization is so important. And it's something that has drastically changed my life over the last 5 years. It's something that kept me going, was being able to visualize and being able to get myself in such a deep visualization of something happening that I felt like it was so possible. And this is where what happened. I've told this story before, but 5 or 6 years ago, when I came back from Canada and when I found myself end of COVID at home in Ireland, rock bottom, fucking, I think 27, 28 years of age, no money, no job, no fucking idea what I was going to do in my life, at the rock bottom, highly anxious. And I started working with herbs to help with my anxiety. I was like, I need to heal whatever the hell is going on in here. And so I looked into herbs because I'm a natural girly and I love herbs. And I used to always struggle with meditation because I could never be present. My head was running at 1,000 miles an hour and I used to get so frustrated because I was like, you fucking idiot. You can't just sit still and sit in silence. Like, what? You can't even do that? Like, such a fucking gaslighting little bitch I was. And it used to frustrate me and I used to feel so stupid. And I remember making these herbal blends, and one of my blends is a mint blend, and it's my favorite fucking blend. It's magic. That's another magic thing. But anyway, I remember rolling it into a joint and going out to the garden and setting up this little space. We had a teepee out in our garden, and setting up this space in the teepee that was so fucking beautiful and boho chic. And I was like, I'm going to meditate. I'm going to visualize. And I put on some guided visualization on YouTube, had a little smoke, set up my space and got into it. And I remember in that moment, it was the first time consciously that I remember actually taking a deep breath. And it was like the herbs allowed me to just enter my body in a way that I'd never entered my body before. And I remember taking a deep breath and like fully feeling the breath go down into my belly and come out. And I remember in that moment, I was like, oh my God, I have spent my life shallow breathing. I don't think a breath has ever gone past my chest and into my belly because I was just constantly shallow breathing. And I remember how good it felt to take a deep breath. So if you're listening to this, like just stop for a second and allow yourself to take a deep breath in through your nose for like 4 or 5 seconds. Hold it a little bit and then exhaling, but allow your belly to expand and follow the breath all the way down and just notice, is it getting caught in your chest? Are you struggling to breathe past your chest? Because I was. But I remember anyway, this visualization, it was a higher self visualization. And I got into this visualization and I saw a version of me. And for the first time, I was like, holy shit. I think it's possible to get to her. Like, this isn't like a fantasy, like thinking of all this. Like, I actually think I could become her if I keep moving the way I'm moving. And it was a moment like that where I was like, oh my God, I actually think I can do things here, and I can become that version of myself. And I had this profound meditation, visualization experience. And I remember coming in to my mother, this little airy fairy Irish woman. But I remember coming in and I was crying tears of joy because I was like, I just had this most incredible experience, mom, blah, 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 blah. And she was like, for fuck's sake, classic. But it was incredible. And that's what kind of started my whole deep diving more into meditation and visualization, and understanding that I actually am capable of doing it. I just needed a little bit of herbs to help me get there. But I've been doing that since. Visualizing, sitting in a visualization, getting into a higher self visualization. Use guided ones. I create some as well if you want. There, I'll leave links below. But allowing yourself to just drop into visualizing something coming into your future. And again, it's not so much the thing itself, it's how you feel when you are experiencing whatever it is you're trying to visualize into your life. And that's it. You're getting your body into a state, because that's how we work. Okay, that's how energy works, and law of attraction and all of that stuff is like, if you can get your body into a state of like feeling that excitement and that joy and that love and that courage and that confidence and all of that subconsciously, then consciously you start drawing things into your life that allow you to experience those feelings. It's literally how we work, and it's the most magical thing on the planet. So that's one, visualization. And on top of that, my morning practice is one of my favorite things. It's the thing that just has the best, I was going to say ROI, like I'm a fucking return investment man. Anyway, it's the best thing I do. First thing in the morning is my morning practice. And in this practice, I listen to an activation. So these are activations that I record myself. I usually change them. Now, I don't listen to this every morning. Sometimes I don't listen to anything, but every now and then, when I'm trying to step into another version of myself, or when I'm trying to call in something bigger, or when I'm trying to step into more confidence and more trust and belief in myself, I will create these activations. Again, I have a few of these in my bio as well, but these are literally recordings that will get me into a state first thing in the morning. So I sit there in my meditative state by my altar, and I listen to these activations, and it literally, it's like I'm downloading the energy that I want to carry into the rest of the day. And I'm sitting there and I feel like I'm plugged in, and I'm just downloading all this positive, good energies, of reminding myself how fucking powerful I am and what I'm capable of doing, and all of this, and all in the present moment, as if it's already happening. It's almost like my higher self is calling me every morning. That's what I used to say as well. I start the activations like that sometimes, as if like I'm getting a phone call from my higher self. And she's like, girl, don't you worry. I'm here to remind you this, and this, and all this, and this is already here. You already have it. So move today like it's already yours. And it really helps me download that energy for the day. And then I see that energy flow throughout the day, and I see all this magic that comes my way. So morning activations. First thing in the morning, last thing before you go to bed, is when your brain is in that theta stage. So it's the kind of the closest you can get to your subconscious. So when you can do something first thing in the morning before you let any of the rest of the world in, or last thing at night before you fall asleep and before you go into that dream state, that you're going to carry that into your subconscious, into your dreams, into your night, or you're going to start your morning, and that's going to be the first thing that comes into your system, the first reminder of your day, and then you see that carry on throughout the rest of your day. Best times to do these things: activations, visualizations, meditations, whatever you want to call them. So yeah, those are three things: scripting, visualization, my morning activations. Talking about visualization as well, music. Oh my God. Music, I have a strong relationship with music, and the more I even like dive deeper into it, the more I realize I've a fucking weird connection with music. Like, music talks to me. Maybe it's my spirit team talking to me through music, but I don't know how many times I have been in a moment, and this I suggest you doing this. Whenever you find yourself in a moment, whether it's in a coffee shop, whether it's out and about, whether it's in a taxi, whether it's you're just listening to a random playlist and you're working out, whatever it is, okay? If you're thinking about something, if there's something ruminating in your mind, right? Or if you're in like a sticky feeling, or maybe it's a good feeling, but maybe you're just like, oh, you're feeling a little anxious or whatever, or there's something that you're worried about or blah, 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 okay? Whatever. Stop and tune into whatever's playing, whatever song is playing. Because I bet you there's a lyric, there's a sentence in there that's going to help you, that's going to offer you a little bit of reassurance, okay? Whether it's a sentence, whether it's a word, whether it's just the melody of the song that evokes some kind of emotion in you, whether it's like a calming emotion and like a soothing emotion, or maybe it's an energetic emotion, or maybe it's something that's just like you just want to move and you want to shake and you want to release whatever anger or whatever you're holding on to. But music is so magic. And I have a incredible relationship with music. But I also use music for that benefit of tying it to my tying it to my manifestations, tying it to what I'm calling into my life. And these all kind of tie together because I use all of these for even the one visualization. So I do this at the start of every year. I create a soundtrack for the year. And I usually curate this soundtrack in the first 2 months of the year, because January and February, we're still in winter. And I very much use that as my little like hibernation visualization time. And so I will be really thinking about what I want to be this year, how I want this year to go, mapping out like things I want to visualize, things I want to call in, my manifestations. And I use it to really just be inwards. I'm not really doing much socializing during these months. I'm really just like curating my vision for the year. And that vision can change, but like we're just doing this. And what I do is I create a playlist. And now sometimes these songs just pop up at a random moment and I'm like, oh, that's the energy for the year, and I'll put it in the playlist. Or sometimes it's a song that has a meaning to me, or maybe it's just the way the song sounds, okay? But I will tie it to something I'm visualizing. So for example, last year or the year before, when I was looking for this apartment, when I was fucking looking for an apartment, okay, I was like, that was one of my goals for the year. I wanted to find my apartment. I wanted my own space. I wanted one that was not just a short-term lease. I wanted a long-term lease somewhere I could call my home and start personalizing it. And I remember, I think Colors was the song that I had chosen because it was just like, it just felt like this movie kind of montage. It just has that energy to it, okay? And so I tied this song to that visualization. And so I was listening to this song, and every time I listened to the song, I just imagined myself getting the keys to my apartment, opening it, coming in with all my boxes. I don't have boxes. I have suitcases, okay? But in my mind, this was like a movie you see where they have all their boxes and they're unpacking and blah, blah, blah. And so that was my montage, moving in with all my boxes and taking everything out of the boxes and putting it up and personalizing my apartment. And, you know, having that messy first night where like you don't really have everything, but you're just unpacking and you have a little takeout because you haven't got food in the fridge yet. And like all this like proper movie scene. And I would visualize that and how good it felt to finally have an apartment, to finally have my keys, to do all those things. And that went into my soundtrack for the year. And so anytime I heard that song, whether it was through me playing the playlist or out and about, I would instantly, my whole system would drop into getting my keys, being in my apartment. And I refelt that whole experience of having my apartment. And lo and behold, when I got this apartment, I remember moving in and I remember playing that song and being like, and it was just this moment. I was like, oh my God, this is so beautiful. It's happening. I've created the scene, the montage in my little mind movie. I've brought it to life and it's now my reality. And I love doing that with music. So I have a soundtrack. I have a song like even for this year tied to like meeting someone romantically, and it's just this beautiful song, but I'm like, oh my God, it just makes you want to be with someone, and it makes you just it just evokes that beautiful connection. And so it's like that. It's like I tie a song to maybe meeting a certain relationship or meeting a group of friends, or a song that's like, tied to me hosting an event or something big in my life that I'm calling in, and I will tie songs to the visualizations. And then I create this playlist at the start of the year. Now, I've added a few songs throughout the year, but usually there's around 10 songs, okay? And then at the start of the year, I will listen to this playlist pretty often, maybe once a week. And each song will bring up these emotions, will bring up this whole thing. I love listening on my morning walk because I'm out and about, and it's putting that energy into me first thing in the morning of like the possibilities of all these things coming to fruition. And then I always, if I'm having a bad time, if I feel like I'm fucking up, I'm going backwards, I'm not seeing any results, I need to give up, or any of this, like having a bad time, I will go out for a walk and I will listen to that playlist, and it brings me straight back to what we agreed on at the start of the year and all the things that are possible, and it completely fucking turns my mood around. And I love it. So tying visualizations, tying manifestations to certain songs, because even if you just think of music for a second. Think of your favorite song. Think of a summer song that just, you instantly hear it and you feel like you're in a field at a festival and it's a big stage and you're with your people and you're dancing. Like, music is so fucking powerful that it can make you time travel. You can hear a song and you can be thrown back to the nightclub when you're 15 years, 18, 18 years of age, singing your heart out with your friends. And it can take you right back to that memory. You can hear a song and it can remind you of somebody, maybe a loved one. And in that moment, you are with that person and that person's energy is around you. Like, that's how fucking powerful music is. It's so powerful. And that's why I always use it to heighten that energy inside me and tie it to things that I'm calling into my life. So music, use it in all the ways. I also love like creating movie scenes. I think I've talked about this a few times, but I create movie scenes in my life all the time. It's a way, it really helps me kind of pull myself out of my life and realize it's not that serious, and you're like, your issues or your problems are not that serious. Because when you can zoom out of anything and you're like, you see it from a bird's eye view, you realize, oh, okay, relax, it's not that bad. And so something I love to do is creating movie scenes in my own life, whether it's going for a walk, whether it's just a day at home, putting on music, changing the whole emotion of the day through music, and allowing myself to be like, oh my God, this is a movie scene and this is like my little montage. Think of like cinematic songs that you hear in movies, opening scenes, credits. Something I love to do is my morning, or when I go for my runs, one song that I fucking love is MIA Paper Planes. Something about that song that is just like opening credits to a fucking good day. Because when I'm running down by the water, I'm running along the water, and I just imagine when that song comes on, because this is definitely a scene in the movie or a TV show or something. Probably somebody running in Central Park. But I imagine like I'm running, I'm listening to this song, and like the camera pans out, and it's just getting a view of me running, and I'm not even in my body. I'm narrating now, and it's like, what if today's the day that, like, shit happens, today's going to be such a good day. And you're just seeing the character fucking out running on a beautiful day. And you don't know what's about to happen, but there's something about this energy that's making it seem exciting, If you're a runner, or if not, just listen to MIA Paper Planes, and go out and have that perspective. Like, zoom out. You are the camera lens. Zoom out and just allow yourself to narrative and how it would feel to start your day in that energy. I think we've gone a little slightly off topic. What I'm thinking, magical things that I do music is a huge thing. What's another thing travel portals. And I'm traveling today, so we'll talk about this one. Travel portal. I always use times when I'm traveling as a form of a portal. So I'm leaving my apartment. I'm going home to Ireland for a couple of for 2 weeks, 10 days. And I'm also getting my hair done today, which adds to this whole portal energy, because it's like a new version of me kind of thing. I did this the last time I went home, which is very funny, but I'm going home. So I'm leaving this apartment. I'm going home for 10 days, and then I'm going to come back. I'm actually going to come back 33 because it's my birthday when I go home. So I like to use this opportunity as if like, okay, well, I'm leaving this apartment. This version of me is not coming back into this apartment. She's leaving, and the next version of me that's coming into this apartment is going to be a little higher up. Um, and so I really think about like, okay, what am I ready to say goodbye to? What am I ready to let go of? What are these things that I'm kind of still holding on to that actually aren't serving me anymore? And what is the version? What energy am I fucking returning into this apartment in? Okay. And because I'm returning as a new age, 33, I'm coming back with like some sassy little energy. But I always use that. So I will move something. I'll clean my whole apartment. I will move a piece of furniture so that it's slightly different when I get back. And then I will kind of say a little goodbye to my apartment as this version of me. And then when I come back, I'm coming back as a different person. So whatever I said that I was getting rid of, whatever I said I was letting go of, it's not, that version of me isn't coming back. And I even love when I do this going home to Ireland, because I think every time you do go home, you meet versions of yourself, and you see how you've grown in a way. So it's this really nice. I love these. I used to dread these times going home, especially when I was in my like heavy healing period, because you go home and you get fucking triggered. You get so triggered because you're just back in an environment where you just were a completely different person, especially your childhood home. But now I love it because I always go back now and I'm like, oh, let's see how I've changed, kind of thing. So using travel as a portal, whether you're going on a little weekend away or something like that, allow yourself to use it as this opportunity to be like, okay, what am I ready to say goodbye to? What am I ready to get rid of? What version, what little things do I no longer need? Sorry, there was somebody outside my window. And what version of myself is coming back? So if you're flying somewhere, use your flight to journal. There we go. Script, baby. Script the version of you that walks back in that door. Script her. How does she move? How does she enter the apartment? What song is she putting on? You know? And allow yourself to sink into that energy. And then when you're on your way back to the apartment, reread that script. Get back into that energy. Remember how you're entering the house. And I love doing this. I love doing it with all travel. But mostly I'm really excited to do it now because I'm going to come back with fresh hair and a year older. So that's very exciting. And like, technically, did you know that for all the women out there, technically 33 is when you become an adult. So you're not behind. You're not running out of time. You are perfectly wherever you are. 33 is apparently when you're an adult. I wish I knew this sooner. I would have. Actually, no. I do enough fucking up in my life. But I'm going to be officially an adult, which is exciting. And it's also my life path number. So I know 33 is going to be a huge year for me, and I'm so fucking excited. And I'm coming back to this apartment with that energy, with that version of me. So yeah, there are a few woo-woo things. I'm going to leave. I don't want to go too long in this episode. But I do so many woo-woo things. So if you do any of those things, let me know. If you want to know more, if you want another episode on the other things that I do, let me know. And if you want to get involved in doing things like this, join my community. I have an online community. It's called The Enchanted Nook. It's a playground for women who want to step away from the fucking perfectionism and actually get back into play, get back into joy, get back into showing our system what it actually is like to just be creative and to romanticize our lives and all of that. And we do dream nights like that, scripting nights once a month. We do TLC nights, which are body nights where we work on the body. I won't go into details of that, but they're magical nights. They're TLC nights, tender love and care, personal tender love and care nights. And then there's also some games and challenges throughout the month, and each month has a theme. And it's just a really nice way to start experiencing life, because that's the thing. I think we've forgotten how to experience life. We are so autopilot and everything, and our whole systems are fried that we've actually forgotten what joy and fun and all the finding the magic in the mundane. And that's what this community is about. So if you are interested, I will leave the link below. Join us. And yeah. Okay, we'll leave it at that. Love you guys. Bye. Thanks so much for taking the time to dive into my brain with me. If any of this resonated with you, I would love to hear your thoughts. DM me, share it with a friend, like, subscribe, leave a review. Do all those juicy little things that help me reach more beautiful souls. And remember, you are chaotically beautiful, and that's all you ever need to be. I love you, I'm proud of you, and until next time, keep shining and stay rosy.